Some of you who clicked on this video are probably thinking, what in the clickbait is this video title? Look, I know the Kardashians and the Kardashians get a lot of good press and a lot of bad press. And you know, a lot of celebrities and the public figures out there who are doing a lot of philanthropic things, whatever the Kardashians do is probably gonna be clouded by everything else about them that people know through the media. So I tend to be in the school of thought that they're probably secretly intelligent and behind the scenes pretty savvy business people, because it's pretty hard to maintain the degree of fame that they have.
Maybe if you had a business that you were passionate about, then you would know what it takes to run a business, but you don't.
For as long as they've had, especially that Kris Jenner, I think she knows exactly what she's doing. But not to get off topic, I think that they are actually making an impact in the cancer world, specifically for esophageal cancer. But before we get started, my name is Austin Chang. I'm a board-certified gastroenterologist, so I help diagnose, treat, and prevent esophageal cancer. So April was Esophageal Cancer Awareness Month, and the reason why I'm posting this in May is, well, because I'm late. So if I'm lucky, this will be recommended to people in future Aprils. Okay, so for a little bit of background, we need to remember that the father of Kourtney, Kim, and Khloe Kardashian was Robert Kardashian. Very accomplished lawyer, also who gained a lot of fame through the O.J. Simpson trial. I don't know about all of you, I might be dating myself, but I was in second grade when that was going down, and literally everyone was glued to their TVs every single day, from the Bronco chase all the way through the entire trial to the verdict. But it wasn't until 2003 that Robert Kardashian was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and very quickly, 2 months later, died of the disease. And you know, that's one of the scary things about cancer. There are certain types of cancer that develop symptoms early. You kind of know that you want to get it checked out by a doctor because it's really unusual. And my suspicion for Robert Kardashian was that maybe he was suffering certain types of symptoms that seemed pretty usual and regular, so he didn't actually seek treatment. And by the time he did, it was diagnosed to be esophageal cancer and probably too far along. And that's often the story that plays out. Now, I read somewhere that Robert Kardashian was actually taking a bunch of acid reflux medication, whether it's simple antacids like Tums or Rolaids, or actual medications to suppress acid production like Prilosec, Nexium, a lot of things that you might find over the counter at your local drugstore, or Pepcid, which works in a different way. I made a video about acid reflux medications in the past, so I'll add a card up here somewhere if you're interested in learning more about that. But the reality is that a lot of people are probably self-medicating and not realizing that they're actually masking an underlying condition. So every year, almost 20,000 people get diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and about 15,000 people die of esophageal cancer every year. It affects men way more than women. About 1 in 125 men in their lifetimes will develop esophageal cancer, whereas 1 in 417 women will develop esophageal cancer. Two main types of esophageal cancer are squamous cell cancer and adenocarcinoma. Squamous cell cancer, I tend to think, is a little more directly related to smoking, happens in the upper part of the esophagus, and adenocarcinoma is more related to chronic acid reflux and acid exposure in the esophagus, and that actually more affects the bottom half of the esophagus. So a little bit of an anatomy review. When you eat, food goes into your mouth, down the back of your throat, and into your esophagus, down your esophagus, all the way down your chest, to the middle of your chest here, right here, and basically below the diaphragm is the stomach. So if there's chronic acid reflux, the acid is coming up from the stomach into your esophagus. So I think what's really important to mention is that if you have chronic acid reflux symptoms for a very long time, you might be at risk of developing esophageal cancer in the future. What happens is that there can be some precancerous changes at the bottom of the esophagus called Barrett's esophagus. And basically, Barrett's esophagus is pre-cancer. Over time can turn into something more concerning and become what we call dysplastic, and then turn into cancer. And the key is, according to some of our professional societies, there are some groups of people who would benefit from actually getting screened for this type of cancer before it happens. There isn't a general recommendation to screen the entire population. Our professional societies also differ slightly in their recommendation to screen certain groups, but generally speaking, if you are male, over the age of 50, have a history of smoking, have a first-degree relative with Barrett's esophagus or esophageal adenocarcinoma, suffer from obesity. These are all potential risk factors that can increase your risk of developing esophageal cancer, and therefore you should actually get screened. Now, what it usually means to get screened is to undergo an upper endoscopy, where we actually have a camera on a long scope that goes down the back of your throat into the esophagus to take a look at that area and potentially take samples. Of course, people are asleep for this. What's kind of cool is that there are some less invasive ways of screening for cancer that are being developed, like a sponge. And I actually made a TikTok about this that got over 4 million views, I think, and I'll just post it right here for you to see.
Have you ever thought that swallowing a sponge might save someone's life?
This is actually pretty cool. So it's a pill that people can swallow, and once it hits the stomach acid, the capsule dissolves and the sponge expands within minutes and is pulled through the esophagus to detect precancerous cells before they turn into cancer. So what does all this have to do with the Kardashians? Well, because of Robert Kardashian, many of you might not know that the Kardashian family actually contributed to UCLA to develop their esophageal center. So now it's named after Robert Kardashian. When it opened in 2019, Kris Jenner, Khloe, Kim, Kourtney, and interestingly, Kendall Jenner showed up to the launch. And I know a lot of people are probably gonna say,
oh, they're probably getting a huge tax break off of this.
Other people will probably say that this
is just a photo op or a publicity thing.
But look, they could have chosen not to contribute any of this, and of course they have a personal connection through Robert Kardashian, so I tend to believe that this is coming out of a true place of wanting to help out the cause. As Khloe, one of my favorite Kardashians, stated in this Instagram story, the UCLA Robert G. Kardashian Center for Esophageal Health will provide resources for groundbreaking research, patient care, and education/training, in addition to support of efforts in esophageal health. The naming of the center and its dedicated specialty services will assist in advancing UCLA's position at the forefront of the world for the study and treatment of esophageal and other GI disorders, improving the quality of life for countless patients and their families. The center will deal with all esophageal and motility issues at UCLA: cancer, benign conditions like reflux, precision health to hopefully prevent cancer, research, education, and wellness. Hey, this is Editing Austin right now, and it seems like this center is devoted not only to esophageal cancer, but other GI diseases. And in reading this, it really makes me think that they probably understand a lot more about different esophageal diseases than most people probably think. And chances are, at the opening, they probably learned about a lot of different types of esophageal conditions. I mean, I'm sure wealthy people also want to know where their money is going and how it's being spent. And even though I don't work at UCLA, I think this is a great move. It's going to benefit not only people locally in LA, but globally as well. There's some amazing experts at UCLA. I know some of the doctors and researchers there, and I'm sure we're gonna be hearing about their amazing findings for years to come as a result of the contributions by the Kardashians. Some of my colleagues who work there said that they had really productive conversations with members of the family, and some of the questions they were asking were very, very intelligent questions. So again, I think that the media really paints them in a certain way, and not to say that they're perfect people, because there's certainly certain stories out there that are a little questionable, but I think that we should still applaud them for being philanthropic in this way and potentially helping the field move forward in helping treat, manage, and prevent esophageal cancer. I didn't see anywhere on the internet where they actually disclosed how much money they contributed, but to get a center named after you is quite a bit of money. And usually how it works for these academic medical centers is that all this money goes into hiring staff, getting equipment and facilities, hiring researchers, really attracting world-class faculty to that center to really assemble an all-star team and raise as much awareness as possible for the condition. I think it's great that they're doing this in their father's honor. And look, a lot of wealthy people out there, celebrities who have better reputations, worse reputations, non-celebrities, other types of public figures, wealthy people contribute to healthcare all the time, and we're grateful for that because it really helps advance our field. So as usual, hope you learned a little bit of something new from this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It would really help me out. And what would also help me out is if you were to subscribe by clicking the red subscribe button below and clicking the bell icon to turn on notifications for every time I upload a new video. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions about what I said in today's video. But until next time, please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.